like many of you, I grew up believing a lie that goes something like this. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. My committing to memory this simple childhood verse was probably one of my earliest exercises in the fine art of denial and how to make it work for you. When fellow students ridiculed my animated way of speaking, and when they mocked the God-given natural swish to my walk, I countered with the lie that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. You see, the fact is that words can hurt me. Words are powerful. They have the ability to crush the human spirit. Over the last year, we have become all too aware of the damage that words have had on the LGBT young people, like Justin Auberg, Billy Lucas, Cody Baker, Asher Brown, Seth Walsh, Raymond Chase, and Tyler Clementi. But words can do more than destroy. They also have the amazing ability to create. We heard that in this morning's first creation story, found in the first chapter of the book of Genesis and continuing into the first 3 verses of the second chapter. In this ancient account of the beginning of the cosmos, we are told that with just a word, God transformed chaos from a formless void into a structured, ordered universe. With just a word, God created light, and God saw that the result was a good thing. With just a few words, God created the sky and the oceans and the dry land. And God evaluated how things were coming along so far and declared it good. Then God said, "Let the earth put forth vegetation." And it did. And it became clear that God was on a roll because God also declared it good. Then God said, "Turn on the lights." And lo and behold, there was the sun and the moon and the stars, and God was batting 1,000 because it was also good. And as God began to get the hang of things, God decided to create fish and birds, all with just a word or two. And it happened. And they were so good that God gave them a blessing. And God went even further by creating animals that walked upon dry land. And we read that God made a mental note for the 6th time that the results of God's spoken word was goodness. And when God was sure that all the kinks had been worked out of this creation business, when God knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that there would be no mistakes, God said the next and final word of creation. God said, "Let us make humankind in our image according to our likeness." And God also blessed us and went even further than with the creation of the rest of the cosmos. God declared humankind not just good, but very good. You and I have been made in the image of God, and we are not just good, but we are very good. And the tragedy is that we seem to spend our whole existence on this earth listening to and battling the voices that say otherwise. We cannot undo what God has done. We simply aren't that powerful. And we cannot change what God has declared to be very good. We can believe the lie if we choose, that what God has made is unclean or an abomination, or we can forget the truth that we have been created in God's image and likeness, but we cannot undo the fact that we are not just good, but very good. So what does it mean to be created in God's image? Well, I believe one of the things it means is we have been imbued with the power to create goodness simply by speaking it into existence. In other words, when we practice speaking out loud the goodness of another person, we are doing much more than just paying that person a compliment. Our words, when spoken sincerely and intentionally, have the power to undo the damage that may have warped that person's spirit even from childhood. Our well-placed words of affirmation can plant a seed that, given the proper care, will produce even more goodness and love within the world. Last week, your board of directors practiced speaking out loud the goodness of each other. Usually, we begin each meeting by checking in with each other, sharing how we're doing, how our week has been going. But last week I asked them to do something different. I asked each person to say something good about each of the other 3 people in the room. To tell each person what they appreciated about that person, what they were grateful for. After we finished, I explained that it's not unusual for us to get so caught up in our daily routines that we forget to thank each other or affirm each other. Sometimes we take it for granted that that other person surely knows how much we appreciate her or him. But words have power, and when we speak them out loud, they have a profound effect on the other person. Imagine what this church would be like if it was filled with people who regularly proclaimed the goodness of each other. Imagine how your own outlook on life would be different if you spent your time blessing a person instead of criticizing him or her. And most importantly, how would your own feelings about yourself be different if each day you stood in front of a full-length mirror, buck naked, looking at your reflection and saying out loud, God created me in God's own image, and I am very good. I looked at most of you smiled at the idea. How preposterous. I couldn't possibly do that. It seems almost impossible to imagine. We can see more goodness in others than we can in our own selves. But remember, we do not have the power to change what God has proclaimed to be very good. We can deny it with the lies that we have heard all of our lives, or we can ignore it or even forget it. But it doesn't change the fact that you and I are very good. Archbishop Desmond Tutu said, human beings are fundamentally good. The aberration, in fact, is the evil one, for God created us ultimately for God, for goodness, for laughter, for joy, for compassion, for caring. Some of us are created male, some of us female, and some of us are even fortunate enough to share a blend of male and female qualities. God made us all, and we are very good. Some of us have been created in such a way that we are romantically and sexually attracted to those of our own sex. Others are attracted to the opposite sex. Some are even attracted to people of both sexes, and others are not romantically or sexually attracted to others at all. God made us all, and we are very good. Some of us have minds like steel traps, which seem to be far more advanced than others. Some of us can neither read the letters on a page or add a column of numbers. God made us all, and we are very good. Some of us can see, hear, move, and speak, and some of us cannot. God made us all, and we are all very good. Each of us is made in God's image and likeness. We each have the ability to create goodness in this world with nothing more than a few words. And never forget that words can be communicated in many ways. We have the capacity to make a difference if we begin to habitually affirm each other and ourselves. Imagine the difference it would